This is not a sponsored video. The cameras were discontinued 9 years ago. Today we're talking about this camera, the Flip Minnow. We're gonna go with Minnow HD. Now, I know on this channel I review the latest and greatest cameras years after they're the latest and greatest cameras because, you know, I can't afford the latest and greatest cameras. But why talk about a mediocre digital point-and-shoot camera from like a decade ago? Well, this is a special little egg in my collection, a unique piece of tech history. And while I don't use it these days to make videos, I could never part with it. The Flip camera was wildly significant in my video-focused life. It's safe to say if I never got my hands on this camera, I wouldn't be on YouTube today. The Flip camera was really popular back in the day, and I think it really did leave a mark on the way people think about vlogging. It prioritized ease of use over literally everything else, even video quality. Simple design, turn it on and hit record and you're golden. In a weird way, the Flip is almost like the Super 8 camera of the digital era. In the same way that Super 8 made video possible for the masses, I think the Flip camera made digital video production more accessible to everyone.
Some nice ads to these. You can stop the lady.
No, you guys can keep playing, but just keep it low, right?
The Flip camera came out in the mid-2000s, back when memes were primarily people in the same room referencing the movie Anchorman, and slightly before the time when they looked like this. Meme history. There were a few different models over the years, but they were mostly the same idea. I'm gonna get a little meta here for a second. I kept saying year singular on that. I had to do like 5 takes. I don't know what's wrong with me.
My brain sucks.
They were small, pocketable, slick, stylish, any other adjectives you want to use, but the Flip camera had a unique positioning because in the mid-2000s, camera phones weren't really slaying it. Oh, that's another Coheed clip, thanks for noticing. So it really was a time before everyone had a great camera in their pocket. But the most important part of the design, they had this. Not gonna lie, it's probably the best fidget device ever. This was way before fidget spinners, y'all like dead memes. But it was also super convenient, let you plug it in and just grab your footage, no cables or anything like that.
A seemingly normal fridge. Guess again, everything is glued together. He's gonna be my friend forever.
You just recording me suffering right here? Oh, God.
Yo, Volvo, show me your hands.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so the Flip camera is obviously nothing to write home about. I mean, the quality is dog shit, hands down. The audio was surprisingly okay, but there was a really small margin of error. You had to be in this perfect spot where you weren't too loud and you weren't too low. If we had a good mix at a live show, we sounded pretty solid. I'm kind of surprised. But the Flip cameras we had also had a bit of an Achilles heel. The way you hold them, sometimes you could inadvertently cover up the microphone, which does some really charming things to the audio. But if you're just in a room, you're gonna hear all sorts of room noise, like that atmospheric hiss in the background. It's really duty poopy, buddy, smelly fart. I'm 8 apparently.
Yo, it's the ultimate FPS, bro.
But at the time of the release, The quality was still not great, but it was what we could afford. And I say we for a reason. Some of you who have been on this channel for a while probably know that I was in a few bands when I was younger. Well, as we were recording, playing shows, growing as a band, and growing as people, we decided we wanted to document the whole thing. See, there was this website that was gaining popularity at the time. It was called YouTube. Maybe you've heard of it. That was a good one. Oh man. One of my best friends and I saved up our money and we went halfsies on 2 flip cameras. And I'm not gonna lie, at the time it was friggin' expensive, especially with our crappy jobs. I worked at the New York Public Library. Oh, God. I had long hair and short beard. Now I have short hair and long beard. What happened? So we went to Best Buy. We ended up getting upsold this Flip Minnow HD, which ironically I was talking to my friend Checkout Jacob about it and he called it the luxury model. It's very luxurious because it doesn't work anymore, doesn't turn on. And alongside that we picked up the Flip HD, which I have no idea where that camera is. But here's the thing, the Flip is not a fancy video camera. Both of our Flips recorded 720p, which, you know, hey, it's technically HD I suppose. The Flip that's missing in action filmed 30 FPS, and this Flip Minnow actually records 60 FPS, which I completely forgot about until I imported it into Premiere, and I was like, oh, huh. But at that time, we weren't worried about the latest and greatest. We weren't worried about settings or really anything. We were just happy to be making videos. And looking back on it now, I'm so glad we had those cameras because all these memories are so well preserved now.
It's Star Wars! Run! Sometimes you gotta clean up the room a little bit, you know?
Eat a bag of Turks.
And for a show with 2 bands playing. A flat tire. Awesome.
The flip cameras didn't offer much in the way of manual control. Basically, you controlled when you started and stopped the recording. This definitely lended itself to the point-and-shoot vibe of the camera, but it also led to some pretty frustrating results sometimes. But honestly, in my experience, the camera was usually pretty reliable in terms of focus and white balance. Lower light scenarios would of course make the focus way less reliable though. And speaking of low light performance, as you would assume, it's not very good on this camera. But I really don't think there are too many people out there who are looking to buy one of these in 2020. I mean, if you are, God bless you. One other big thing you had to keep in mind was, holy crap, make sure that lens was clean, because it really attracted fingerprints for some reason, and just the slightest smudge will completely ruin your clip. The rolling shutter on the flip is brutal, but it is to be expected on something. God, what kind of sensor does this thing have? It had like this weird 1.25. I don't know. What the fuck is this number? Slightly larger than a 1/4 inch 1.6 megapixel CMOS sensor. I'm not a flip expert here, but most, if not all of the flip cameras came equipped with a digital zoom, which did absolutely horrific things to your footage. When fully zoomed in, the video kinda just looks like 4 big pixels. It's really terrible and ugly. Surprisingly, the Flip Minnow HD actually did make MP4 files, which that was awesome, especially at the time because I was using Windows Movie Maker. Shh, don't tell anybody. And there actually was a proprietary flip software called Flip Share, which apparently you just plug the camera in and grab the footage off it, but I don't know, I never used that. I just opened the folder and copied it onto my computer. And on that note, the flip cameras ran on internal storage, no SD cards or anything like that. These cameras were commonly sold by their hard drive capacity and approximate record time. For example, Flip Ultra Video Camera, black, 4 gig, 2 hours, 2nd generation. The mid-2000s were just a simpler time. The Flip Minnow also had an HDMI mini out, which is pretty unique for a simple small camera like this. It was a cool option that I definitely never used. The flip cameras were initially made by this company called Pure Digital. Pure Digital actually started out with this weird joint operation with CVS Pharmacy known as the single-use digital camera. It was basically the same idea as a disposable 35mm film camera. You would shoot your video, bring it to CVS, and they would give you a DVD. It's kind of an interesting idea. You can actually still buy one of these today on eBay. And apparently you can homebrew your own way to connect the camera to your computer, but it seems a little too in-depth for me. If you're into stuff like this, I'm gonna link the video down below. I'd love to see what you come up with. But from there, they introduced the flip branding and they moved up from 640 by 480 to 1280 by 720 into the HD models. Some of them had 60 FPS, some of them had image stabilization, and that single-use camera turned into the flip that we all know and maybe love. Some of us love.
The flip video camera is a big piece of crap.
Wrong.
This thing's my piece of crap. While some flip cameras were powered by AA batteries, the two we had were both rechargeable lithium-ion batteries, which probably explains why mine won't turn on. Bummer. But regardless, I bought this camera 12 years ago. At the time, it was super reliable, it had pretty decent battery life, and we just used it constantly. Nowadays, I'm so spoiled by dual pixel autofocus and articulating screens. Back then it was like, did we charge the thing? Does it work? Cool. And honestly, for what we were doing, we didn't really need much more than that anyway.
You're a fucking dick, bro.
Dude.
Did we say you can come out?
Buying two flip cameras when I did really changed the course of my life. Apart from the simple, it's nice to preserve your memories, it's nice to be able to look back on that period of my life and laugh at a lot of these videos, which, trust me, I've wasted way too much time doing making this video. But no hyperbole, it was one of the best decisions of my life. Having my own video camera to use whenever and however I wanted, it was the reason I fell in love with making videos. And I'm so glad that my friend and I bought two of these overpriced shitty cameras, because if I didn't, I don't think I'd be on YouTube today. That would kinda suck.
And I'm gonna try and drink all of this Four Locos.
So if you're an 18, 19-year-old, my advice to you, film stuff with your friends. You're gonna really be glad that you have it, because before you know it, you're gonna be like a 30-year-old who's depressed and uploading videos to YouTube. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Before we get out of here, we gotta talk about the weekly feature. This week's theme was cats, and man, you guys gave me a lot of really good choices, but this week's feature is gonna go to Ferret Flip with this beautiful portrait tones, the chair, the cat, everything. I like it. It's very cozy, it's very warm. Big fan. Make sure you join the Discord to be a part of these weekly features. And guys, as always, smash that subscribe button, leave a like, share the video. Get me on the social medias. I'm not on TikTok anymore, sorry, because that shit's illegal. I'm kidding, but I'm not there anymore. But everything else. Alright, see you next time. Bye!
And will you tell all your friends to smash the subscribe button? Today was all they were thinking. Today was all they were thinking. Let's go!